With every new pack release, Mannadium is getting closer and closer to full power, and we just got this new pack that actually makes this deck, in my opinion now, real. So this is my first list right here, again based on playing this deck a fair bit in the TCG. Now the biggest thing we're still missing is Visa's Samsara, which is a level 4 that makes all kinds of cool plays. Some people at first thought you wouldn't play it, but like eventually it seemed to be optimal to still play this card inside Mannadium. But you will notice this deck is also already teched out for the coming threat that is Super Heavy Samurai. So we have triple Droll and Lockbird. I think this new format is gonna be Super Heavy versus Mannadium and Mannadium versus Super Heavy, and both of those decks do not like to see Droll, so we're gonna be playing triple Droll and Lockbird. Now one really important note about this card: every single Super Heavy Samurai player will be playing Gamma in their main deck, and there might even be Mannadium players playing Gamma in their main deck because they know so many people will be on Droll. For this reason, there might be an argument for waiting with your Droll until they commit a monster onto the board. Now, if Super Heavy then has Soul Piercer access, GG. Get fucked, I guess. But otherwise, we're good. And I think most people won't even be maxing out Soul Piercer just yet, so alright. I think triple Droll is correct though. This format seems to be a Droll format. Now, this does kind of conflict with our triple Maxi. However, Maxi is fucking broken, and it's one of the other hand traps that actually can nuke Super Heavy and Mannadium. So for that reason, I want to max them out, because if you go second and you don't have access to this, you are dead. And once again, you can wait until they have a monster on board so that you don't get gammed for all your life savings. Next, we have triple Meek. Of course, this is part of the deck. I see some people still trying to play like the other balls, but honestly, these are the only balls you need. Then we have triple Ash to stop Maxi and also just a generically solid hand trap. Then we have one Prisma. Now, this is something not a lot of people are doing right now in Master Duel because they still like Fenrir. Like, you can raid salt into Fenrir, into Scareclaw Kashtira. My issue is that's like 2 starters for one pretty shit card, and I find Mannadium in Master Duel to be relatively bricky right now. I do not like how few starters this deck really has, because we don't have Samsara yet, we don't have Fenrir at 3 like in the TCG, but we don't have raid salt at higher copies like in the TCG, so we kind of just lack starters, and so I would much rather have like a Hero Lives plus Prisma as even more starters. Now, if you're not into that, no problem. You can cut this for your Fenrir package, you know, have 2 really solid cards for 1 dog shit cards, play some more into Droll as well. But when you do draw the Fenrir, of course, it'll be crazy good. Now we have triple Rykard, of course. This is part of, you know, almost every single Mannadium combo. Let's be real here. Triple Rhyamheart, we got this in the previous line of support, and this is, of course, super crucial. It's the reason Mannadium even exists, in my opinion. And we have 2 Visa Starfrost. I see some people play 3, probably because they're so used to bricking that they're like, well, fuck it. This Visas can be like a semi-starter, kind of, to at least get into like the Lightheart and the Reichphobia plays, but like, I don't know, not a big fan, so 2. And we play 1 Nib to draw into of Max C. This could also be Imperm, but honestly, I think we're gonna go into a format where you either have the high impact hand trap and it goes off, or you just lose. Now, I am well aware that a lot of Mannadium lines can play around Nib, and a lot of super heavy lines can play around Nib. However, there are a lot of greedy as fuck lines that don't. And I think now that people are going to be playing with Trisukta into Arinrata and all of that stuff, you might sometimes get that free W with Nib. Also, not a lot of people are on Nib, so they're the Crossout can't hit it, they're Called By can't hit it either. And so, like, I don't know, this just feels like a solid card to have access to right now, but you can cut it if you want to fit other non-engine. Now we have Reinforcement of the Army to get ourselves our whichever warrior we're missing, really. Then triple A Hero Lives. Again, not a lot of people on this right now, but I do really like it. Like, you go A Hero Lives, you special summon Prisma, Prisma reveal Astraloud, send Visa Starfrost, get the name, and we're on our way. Then we have double Arrival, of course, for our Reichhard, and 2 Abscission, just some more extension and searching. I am not playing the other one. Is it Imaginings? I don't remember the name. Let me go. Imaginings. Yeah, because I find this card sometimes just a little, like, bricky. Like, of course, this can get you going and so forth, but everyone's going to be on Droll, so this is so often just going to be dead. Not a huge fan, but still a solid card, of course. Then we have a double Reichphobia, fine, and then a Perla Rhino, because now that you have Visa's Amritara here, you can search the Perla Rhino, get yourself access to Visas, and then just keep on going that way. So I think now that we have like Trisukta into Amritara, I think Perla Rhino is definitely gonna be real. Then triple Calarium, of course, is his D-field spell. God, do you see how many ultra rares are in here? Do you understand why I haven't built it on Master Duel? Holy shit. And then we have a double Called By and Crossout, of course, for Maxi, but also for Droll now. That's actually like one issue. If people have both in their hand, yikes. And of course, our reframing to back up our board. Now for the extra deck, we have have double Astrolaud, very important. One Trisukta. Some people might not be aware of this card. So basically, if this card is synchro summoned, you can target one level 2 tuner in your graveyard, special summon it, but negate its effect. The second effect we don't tend to do because it locks you into synchro, but the first one doesn't actually lock you. So what you're going to do is you're going to have Rhyme Heart, and Rhyme Heart is going to get Meek, and then Rhyme Heart plus Meek makes Trisukta, and then Trisukta brings back Meek, and then Trisukta can go into Amritara. So this actually makes Rhyme Heart a one-card combo, like a proper one-card combo, which wasn't really the case previously. Yeah, so Trisukta is really good. This actually makes Mannadium from a 2-card combo deck into a 1-card combo deck. Absolutely lovely. Also, if you notice, it's Tearlament Skitkalos in new armor. Let's go. And then we have Axel Synchro. Some people play Stardust as well. I think like that doesn't come up often enough to be worth it, but you could if you can fit it. The extra deck is not spacious, definitely not, but there are some flex-ish slots in here, you know, IP, Unicorn, don't always come up, Elf even. So like you could try and fit it if you're a big fan of the card, but I don't think it's that worth it just yet. And we have Visa's Amritara. So again, this is a new card. This says it's a Visa Starfrost while on the field, meaning you can actually turn this into the Link 1 Lightheart, and then you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. So if it's synchro summoned, you can add a spell or trap that mentions Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand. So this searches anything in the deck basically. So that is also why we're playing Perlerino, because this card on summon could search like Perlerino, and then Perlerino could search Visas, and then you can turn this into the Lightheart to then search Reichphobia, and that way you have, you know, access to everything. Of course, it can also search Calarium and everything. Like this card changes so much for the deck. And then during your main phase, you can destroy one monster you control, and then all your synchro monsters gain 800 attack. So of course you can pop Meek with this and then pop off with Calarium. Now one thing you're not seeing in this deck is Omega. You can technically Omega hand loop in this deck together with Dissipator, but I find that those lines are much easier with Visa Samsara, which we don't have yet. But again, there's a lot of like options in this deck. Of course, you also don't see Chaos Angel in here. If you want to fit that because it can be really good, by all means go ahead. Then we have Baron, we have Chengying, of course. Boy gets big. It's like a fake interrupt. It's really only with like the SP lines that we have in the TCG right now that this becomes like real. So if you would rather have Chaos Angel over this, that's fine. Then we have Dissipator, which of course is like awesome extension and also an interrupt. Then we have 2 Lightheart for our Reichphobia lines, 1 IP because sometimes you can go like Cross Sheep, revive something, Astrolaud plus the revive thing into IP, and then you have IP plus Cross Sheep, which can either be Appaloosa or Unicorn in your opponent's turn, depending on what you need. We have Sprite Elf. There's some lines where you can go like IP plus something into Elf, and then during your opponent's turn, you Elf back the IP, and so stuff like that is like cute. You can also bring back Meek in the grind and stuff like that. So it's a cool little thing. We're never able to do in a TCG, but it is really interesting that we can do it here. So then we have Unicorn, mostly for IP plays because we're not playing access code for the OTK. If you want to play access code, Chengying could probably be cut, but I think generally this deck OTK is very well already. Like, sure, it's easier if you can play like Dark and access code and all of that. I think this deck just with Astrolaud and Barons and so forth is OTKing plenty. So Unicorn and then Appaloosa, again, this can be part of your end board as well. So this deck, of course, in Master Duel is a bit odder because you cannot put up anything under Max C. That is like the only issue this deck has, I find. And of course, Droll now being in the format because everyone's going to be on Super Heavy Samurai because that deck is just crazy. But beyond that, this is really powerful. And now with Trisukta and Arimrata or Amritara, whatever its name is, this deck actually feels like a real deck. Previously, you saw my top 5 best decks. I was like, this deck is somewhere in the top 5 at the very bottom, but it's definitely getting there. But now it's here, right? Again, having the full line of support would be nice with Samsara and so forth, but this is it. This is where Mannadium actually becomes a deck, in my opinion. So I hope you found this interesting. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Seriously, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you soon. Ciao.